Welcome back to Be Inspired Again. If you've been following us on Instagram, you know that we've been talking about the joy of the Lord. I've been kind of obsessed with what it means to be joyful in this season, because things have been left and right, and I've been content and discontent, and God has really been speaking to my heart about what it is to be joyful, to be able to access His joy in every single season of our lives. So to start off, I'm going to read Nehemiah 8, and this is the Message version of the Bible. It says, "By the time the 7th month arrived, the people of Israel were settled in their towns. Then all the people gathered as one person in the town square in front of the water gate and asked the scholar Ezra to bring the book of the revelation of Moses that God had commanded for Israel. So Ezra the priest brought the revelation to the congregation, which was made up of both men and women, everyone capable of understanding. It was the first day of the 7th month. He read it facing the town square at the water gate from early dawn until noon." That's like 6 hours, y'all. "In the hearing of the men and women, all who could understand it. And all the people listened. They were all ears to the book of the revelation. So the scholar Ezra stood on a wooden platform constructed for the occasion. He was flanked on the right by Mattaniah and several other men that I'm not going to try to pronounce. And Ezra opened the book. Every eye was on him. He was standing on the raised platform. So God put him in a place where people would be able to see him. And as he opened the book, everyone stood. Then Ezra praised God, the great God, and all the people responded, 'Oh, yes, yes,' with hands raised high. And then they fell to their knees in worship of God, their faces on the ground. Jeshua, Benai, Sherebiah, Jamin, Akub, and several other men that I will also not try to pronounce, who were all Levites, explained the revelation while people stood listening respectfully." So he made sure that he had people around him to be able to translate for the congregation so that they could all understand. And the revelation of God, so the people could understand it and then explain the reading. So Nehemiah the governor, along with Ezra the priest and scholar, and the Levites who were teaching the people, said to all the people, "This day is holy to God, your God. Don't weep and carry on." They said this because all the people were weeping as they heard the words of the revelation. He continued, "Go home and prepare a feast, holiday food and drink." And some translations call it sweet drink, which I love. "And share it with those who don't have anything." So don't only prepare for yourself, but prepare it for everybody that does not have. "This day is holy to God. Don't feel bad. The joy of God is your strength." The Levites calmed the people. "Quiet now. This is a holy day. Don't be upset." So the people went off to feast, eating and drinking and including the poor in great celebration. Now they got it. They understood the reading that had been given to them. Now, that's verses 1 through 12. I think that it is absolutely amazing that all it took was a word from their leader to tell them, "Listen, y'all around here weeping and crying, and that's not the season that you're in." He was there to tell them and remind them that they were in the 7th month and that this was a season set aside for celebration. And they had gotten distracted by hearing something new and not fully understanding it and forgetting where God had placed them. They had told themselves that it was a time to mourn, but their leader came to them and told them, "Listen, this is not a time for you to be mourning. This is a time for you to be joyful." And just like that, they were able to stop mourning and do what it was that they had to do. Now, there's a woman that I love and admire so much, and she has a ministry where a lot of times she reminds people not to be focused on what their emotions are and to not allow their emotions to control them. And the first time I heard her say this, I was like, she crazy. Like, there's absolutely no way that I cannot be sad right now because this is how I'm feeling. But I've since then come to learn that God has given us self-control, especially with the Holy Spirit. It's a fruit of the Spirit. And in having that self-control, you can control your emotions. So just like that, they went from mourning to having a word of revelation and then finding out, oh, this is a season of joy. I can be joyful. So that's inspired me to seek God in all the moments, not only the large things that are going on in my life, but the small things as well. And so there are some things that I want to share with you. The first is to be adamant about seeking joy. Don't just be willy-nilly, like, okay, like the joy of the Lord is my strength. What does that mean? God, send it from heaven. No. Be in His Word. What are you listening to? Who are you in conversation with? You have to be adamant about it, about seeking it and asking God for it. The second thing is allow God to give you a revelation of His joy. Don't create one. When you seek, expect to have a perspective change. So know that God is going to speak to you. You don't have to move outside of His timing. If you want God to show you what it means, how to have joy in this season, wait for Him. Wait for God. And the third thing I'd like to share with you is believe, point blank, period. When God gives you this revelation, when He tells you what to believe for and how to have joy and how to posture yourself in the season that you're in, believe Him. And I am also reading a book called Kingdom Woman by Dr. Tony Evans and his daughter Crystal Evans Hurst. And I read this recently about joy, and it was an amazing revelation, and I'd like to share it with you. He says, I have good news for you. If you are abiding, as in abiding, the Bible talks about Christ being the vine and we are the branches, and He commands us to abide in Him. If you're abiding, God has given you something to make the wait worthwhile. Joy. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, that your joy may be complete. Don't be confused. Joy is different from happiness. Happiness is a warm, bubbly feeling you get when things are going well. Real joy has nothing to do with how things are going. Joy is a question of your state of mind, regardless of how things are going. In fact, joy itself is called a fruit of the Spirit. Joy has to do with a God-given internal ability to cope well. It can produce peace in the midst of panic and calm in the midst of turmoil. So I want to encourage you, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is you're experiencing, seek joy. I also have a coworker. Sometimes things will be going certain ways at work, and she'll come to me and she'll be like, friend, joy, joy, joy. And we kind of play around with it, but it's been so encouraging for me and reminding me that God's joy is available. You can always access it. So remember to be inspired again and be joyful. And I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.